So what's one of the biggest mistakes I see homeowners make when they're trying to sell a home that's vacant? They leave it empty. The reason this comes up is because either the homeowner already moved, or it was a rental property and the tenants have moved out, or maybe it's a property that they inherited that no one's living in. And they think that the buyers can just visualize what this empty space could look like. Well, let me tell you, after selling hundreds of homes over the past 21 years, they don't. Data shows buyers struggle with visualizing the full potential of an empty home, which causes them to devalue it or pass it by completely. Today, I'm going to show you a real example here in Long Beach, California, and how staging this home rather than leaving it empty not only helped this home sell faster, but ultimately it also sold for a lot more because it didn't sit on the market for months on end. So let's get to it. So I recently worked on this listing that was set to be the highest priced home in its area, outside of oceanfront properties, which were just one block away. And it was almost impossible to really comp this property out because there was nothing like it. So this wasn't just any home, it was a luxury property that had been completely renovated with no expense spared. The property was in a fire a few years ago, and the main house had undergone severe smoke damage and was unlivable. So really, for the most part, the entire home had been practically rebuilt. High-end finishes, custom features, brand new everything. I mean, no expense spared. When I first met with the sellers, they had said, well, why spend money on staging? The home already speaks for itself. It shows like a high-end new construction in Orange County. It was a fair question. On paper, this house checked every box, but even the most stunning home can feel unfinished when it's empty. So I showed them what staging could do, and that I really felt that to really maximize the value of what they had done, they needed to stage it. And I reviewed the stats with them on staging versus not staging. I also made the example and compared it to a new home build. What a developer does when they have a new community, they have model homes and they're beautifully staged. They don't just leave them empty thinking, well, they're brand new, they're just going to sell themselves, because that's not the case. The developers know that even if they have these gorgeous newly built homes, they need to put that one extra finishing touch on it to really get the buyers excited and help them understand what it would be like to live in the space. So here's what the home looked like before the staging company came in and worked its magic. The rooms felt big and somewhat undefined. They were beautifully appointed and finished. There's absolutely no doubt in that. But what it lacked was warmth. And most buyers wouldn't be able to imagine their own lives in the space. And sometimes there's rooms that you just don't know what you're going to do with. In this particular property, there was a flex space or an added room in the primary suite upstairs. People would walk in and not know what that space could be. Could it be a walk-in closet, an office? So we staged it as a nursery, just as one idea that somebody could do with that room. On the third floor of this property, there was this enormous room that could have been another primary suite. We staged it as another family room or living area, but it had these really quirky but beautiful nook areas, and we staged it one area as a little kids play area and another area as a reading nook. Most people wouldn't think to do something like that, and they would wonder what they could do with those odd spaces. Outdoor spaces should absolutely not be left out of the equation. When you walked into the backyard, you had multiple outdoor living spaces. If that backyard had been left empty, people would wonder, what do I do with the space? Where we're showing them multiple outdoor entertainment areas and giving them a sense of how they could be spending their weekends. Now that you're seeing these areas staged, I think you'd agree. The staged rooms have now become warm and inviting areas. They pull you in. The spaces are now well defined. Buyers can see how to use each room and imagine how they would live in the space. It really shows like a model home. Move-in ready, no imagination required. The result for this home, a lot more interest. We had so many more views and inquiries. The open house was packed. Over 122 groups came through in just the first weekend. And bear in mind that a usual opening weekend for a new listing is about 20 to 30 groups per day, and that's a great open house. So 122 groups, that's above and beyond. The buyer spent more time looking at the property and touring the home, and a few even came back a second and third time. The result was an amazing offer in just 2 weeks. To put this in perspective, other homes in this price range, which was over $3.5 million, took 75 to 90 days or more on the market. That's pretty normal for a luxury price point. So this is just one example. I've seen better results time and time again with homes that are staged versus left empty. Statistics show that staged homes sell 73% faster than homes that are unfurnished or left empty. 40% of buyers are more willing to visit a staged home they found online versus swiping left and moving on. And staging increases a property selling price anywhere from 1 to 10% or greater. Why? Because staging does 4 key things. Creates an emotional connection. It allows the buyer to mentally move into the space. Defines spaces clearly. Makes the home feel move-in ready, and increases the perceived value. If you're thinking about selling your home and have questions about staging or the overall process, put your comments down below and reach out using the QR code on your screen. I'd love to chat and help you out. Bye for now.